All right, Scott, it's been 7 years since Bellator was in Arizona here in Phoenix. Just does it feel kind of cool to get back to cities that maybe haven't been to in a while?
You know what? And I don't think we were here. I think we were at another location.
You were at Grand Canyon University.
Yeah, it's a much different fight, feeling. And these are much bigger fights. So to me, I've always loved this area. I love Phoenix. Always had some great fighters come out of here. And I said, let's go to Phoenix. When Bader continued in the tournament, and Brenson's here, and Henry Corral is originally from here, it just made a lot of sense, and I'm glad we did it.
Yeah, and you got Benson and Maria Henderson fighting on the card. This is the second time, I believe, that you've had a wife and the husband fight. The Kings were last time, I think. Are you becoming a couples therapist? What's going on here?
You know what? Listen, she really wanted to do it, and we said, "Hey, let's do it. This will be fun. It'll be great. It'll be great." And Benson's in a tough fight. She's in a tough fight. You know, what they say: a family that kicks together sticks together. So there you go.
Would you ever consider, depending on how the night goes, but would you consider the Henderson-Melendez rematch and the Kerry-Melendez versus Maria Henderson on the same night?
Boy, that's. I mean, Gilbert's obviously. I think he's retired now, but you know what, Kerry. I think we're gonna have her start fighting again in the beginning of the year. She's a talent, but Benson's wife is just an amateur. Having her, I'm not sure how many fights she's had, but it's just she hasn't turned pro yet. So, let's give her a beat. Let's give her a little shot. You guys don't be too rough on her.
In other news, you announced Cyborg's next fight taking on Sinead Kavanaugh in Florida. Was there any consideration to maybe put that fight in Dublin?
There was, but the Dublin card was full, and we have such a great card there with Peter Queally. And now that Patricio gave up his belt, and that's going to be a title fight for Patrici and Queally, I think that's going to be a great fight. And then the undercard is, Patrick makes fighting Gallagher. I think that's going to be another great fight. So to add Cyborg on top of that, we thought that was like just a bit too much. So we said let's create another event. And Cyborg, she's been able to deliver. She's always been great for the sport, great for Bellator. And so, we're fighting her on the 12th of November at the Hard Rock in Miami. So you guys all come out to Miami.
Do you have any explanation as to why Bellator's been able to go to all these international places now when the UFC really hasn't tried to, or anything like that?
I really don't know, because I'm not sure what their international business model is. But for us, I think one of the things that's really helpful is that when we're owned by a company like Viacom, we have offices all over the world, right? So we can just plug into their office and their infrastructure and their system. David Green's been doing an amazing job in Europe. Paulo Bacatti, who's producing our fight in Moscow. I mean, these are friends of mine for many years, and we worked together for a dozen years or so, and more with Paulo, probably 20 years. And so they understand the martial art fight business, but they're there, and there's boots on the ground in Europe. And so there was a scenario really where the London fight might have happened without any of us, right? Meaning our staff wouldn't be able to go. Our staff wouldn't be able to go to Moscow. So I told them, I said, guys, if that happens, you guys got to take this show and run it, bring the live feed back. It's going to be a TV show for here, but we're not going to stop. You guys have to make this happen. So, make a long story short, it's, we have boots on the ground that can produce these fights and make these fights happen without the U.S. team going over there necessarily. It's easier when we do, but there was a backup plan to activate and make these fights happen with or without us.
Speaking of Europe, what did you think of MVP versus Douglas Lima? Did you agree with the decision? What did you think of that whole thing?
Listen, I'm not going to question the judges' decisions, right? That's really something, as a promoter, it's probably not a good idea to do. But listen, they're one-on-one. If they want to have like a trilogy at some point, great. And I thought it was a great promotion. I thought it was a great event, and it was quite a big show. So for me, it checked a lot of the boxes, and we'll definitely be back in London, and MVP will probably fight there sometime, March or April next year. So we'll keep that train going.
Do you think that was enough for MVP to earn the next shot at Yaroslav Amosov, or do you guys have other plans?
I mean, look at the rankings. He's the #1 contender, right? So he'll have the first shot. And I heard that there was talk about he wanted to fight Amosov, and then he wanted the strap, and then after he was like, I want a trilogy with. So we haven't figured that part out, and we'll probably address it with him. I wanted to give him a couple of weeks just to relax. Hey, go relax, go spend time with your family. And I heard that was the best training camp he'd ever had. and that he was in the best shape of his life. And that's a lot of sacrifice, these athletes go through when they're in that kind of shape training for a fight of this magnitude. So, we'll probably address that in the next week or so.
And I know AJ McKee's going to be here with Jalen Bass this week. You plan on sitting down with him and trying to figure out when he's ready to come back?
Yeah, because we'd love to get him back in the cage as soon as possible. And as early as maybe the end of this year, beginning of next year. Came off of a big win against Patricio. So, to me, the answer is yes. We'd love to have him back as soon as possible.
And last one for me. You just talked about a couple more shows this year. What's kind of how many more do you think we're looking at after Miami? Do you think we'll squeeze in a couple more by the end of the year?
Definitely after Miami, we'll have at least one more. Yeah, one more fight here in the United States before the end of the year.
Great, thanks.
I think in your last few Grand Prix, especially the welterweight one, I think fans were hoping to see the rematch between Rory and Lima in the finals. They wanted to see Fedor in the finals. They wanted Patricio, AJ, and it all worked out. And now this tournament, a lot of the big names have fallen out. So how would you say this Grand Prix has gone compared to the other ones?
I'll tell you, I think it's gone great. And the situation with Rumble, it is what it is. I mean, the guy is not healthy to fight. And health and safety is the number one concern, for us. So we can't put an athlete in here or try to push an athlete if he's not ready and he's not healed up. And when he's ready, we'll have him back. And that's how I feel. So there'll be other opportunities if he's ready to come back. We'll be here, open arms for him. So that was like a little, I'd say a little pivot for us. But to have this situation, now you have a Rocky story, right? This is a big fight.
The Daniel Cormier story.
Yeah, this is the Daniel Cormier story all over again if you think about it. I was telling the other gentleman over there, Daniel Cormier wasn't even the first alternate. He was the second alternate. And I forgot the other guy's name, but it was Bobby Lashley and another gentleman that was the first alternate, and then Daniel was the second alternate. So to me, look at what happened with Daniel, and when, not to make this about DC because he's a great guy, but I want to talk about my guys, right? But it's this is the same type of story, and it's like the Rocky story. This is the underdog story. Look, this kid has nothing to lose but to go out there and go for it, right? He's got nothing to lose. He's going to go out there and he's going to fight, and he's fighting a killer. Nemkov is no joke. You guys know. To me, he's the best 205er in the planet. Until somebody beats this guy, I think he's the best 205er in the planet. Period.
What was your process of choosing Anglikas to step up against Nemkov? Because obviously Carl was fighting earlier in the night. He's beaten Nemkov before. So why did you go with Julius Anglikas?
Well, he came off of a 9-fight win streak, and we asked him back in April when we started, and so that's he was already the alternate at that point. So it's just a matter of plugging him in. And so when this opportunity came up, we called him. He accepted, and that's what happened.
Do you think Nemkov has the potential to be the best fighter on just the roster in general, outside of the light heavyweights? I know everyone points to AJ, but if you look at Nemkov, to go off of that, you've heard the knocks on MVP, fights people maybe not at his level. Nemkov gave 5 champions right out of the gate. So what did you see in him that you just threw him right to the wolves right away?
I saw him fight a couple fights in Japan, and I said, this guy is going to be really, really good. He just needs more experience. And then we signed him. Fedor, who is his coach and advisor, said he's ready to fight anybody. And here we are. But don't knock MVP. Come on. You just fought Douglas Lima.
I'm sure you hear what the fans say online.
Well, you know what? I think the fans are too hard on him, honestly. Sure. It's like, look, this guy is super talented. He's super fast. He's the number 1 contender. He didn't get there just by fighting scrubs. He fought Douglas Lima twice, right? Didn't work out the first time. Second time, he appointed him, and then now he's going to have to fight the champ or fight Douglas Lima again. I mean, he is in the deep waters, right? So to me, it's like, come on, give the kid a little break. But this situation is like I said, Nemkov, to me, he's the best 205er in the world. If he wins this tournament outright, then I think he's pound for pound. I think he and AJ are probably the 1-2 punch in the company as far as pound for pound best.
Looking at the lightweight fight, Brent Primus was very fired up that he didn't get the title shot. He's not in the vacant title. Benson's word, I don't have anything positive to say about not getting it. I'm not going to say it. They both seem a little confused that they weren't in it. So what do you say to that?
Okay, listen, I get it, but the situation was one of the situations was that when Patricio said, he's going to give up his belt, it was very specific. Like, I'm giving up my belt for my brother to fight for the belt. So, listen, keep winning. What I would say is keep winning, and then you'll get your shot, right? This was not scheduled to be a title fight between Queally and Patricky. So, let that fight happen. Beginning of the year, let's get it on. Whoever wins, let's get it on. So, there'll be opportunities.
Scott, one last one for me. Are we getting any closer to an atomweight division?
You know what? That conversation hasn't gotten too far yet in this company. We only have so many TV dates. I want to make sure that the amount of fighters that we bring on, that we can keep them busy and keep them active. And I think that it's possible, but it hasn't really got too much traction yet.
All right, I guess one last one for me. But Horiguchi, we're getting towards the end of the year. You think he'll fight in Ryzen again before fighting in Bellator, or what are you thinking next for him?
Well, I can tell you this. Horiguchi's next fight will be against a big fight. It'll be a big fight. It'll be here in the U.S. and it's going to be a great. I can't tell you what it is. It's going to be amazing.
Is the last name
We'll
begin
see.
with Pettis?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Boy, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll happen here in the United States before the end of the year.
Scott, is there a fight other than the main event or co-main that you're really looking forward to? Maybe one on the prelims?
I'm looking forward to see Benson Henderson's wife. Get on with that girl, see what happens. I mean, to me, it's like that should be like a reality show, coming home and filling him, and how was your day? And
with kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just going to be, like I said, I really appreciate it because it's really like a martial arts family to me, right? And so I really have appreciation for that, and to me that's going to be interesting. So I definitely will be here to watch that fight.
Was there a thought of having Nemkov hold off another month and fighting in Russia with Fedor?
Not really. No, we felt that Nemkov could be here. Fedor, listen, that is probably the greatest Russian MMA fight card ever put together, right? Because you have Fedor fighting, on the card. You have Usman, you have Minakov, right? We have so many great fighters. Kreshkov, unfortunately, is not on the card anymore. But when I look at that fight from the top to bottom, it is a stacked card. And Nemkov should be here fighting in Phoenix, defending his belt. And this is the next step for him. And whoever wins tomorrow night's fights, the two fighters will be fighting for $1 million, plus their purses, sometime, I think, in the early first quarter.
And unfortunately, there was a death in the combat sports world. Justin Thornton died in bare knuckle. I just wanted your thoughts on
I
it.
read about that. I don't follow like bare knuckle boxing too much. I don't know what kind of rules and regulations or what kind of testing they do and things like that. But I would just urge, them to really, or anybody that's in the bare knuckle business, like, it's being allowed by commissions, And at first I was like, this is unbelievable, right? It took us how many years to get MMA legal, right? I mean, you're talking a lot of years. So if you're going to allow it, I think you have to really regulate it and really make sure that these athletes are ready to go, because it's you're putting them in harm's way, and I know that it's not any promoter's goal to have somebody get hurt in their fight, but this is a combat sport and you have to be very careful, and that's why we go through extra testing. We go through all the protocols that we go through and all the testing. So to me it's like, hey, I just urge them as a company, really go out of your way to do your due diligence and make it safe as you can for the fighters.
Is there any updates on Big Tuna and Valerie Figueiredo's next fight?
Big Tuna.
Did he get time off work yet?
He's a big star, especially in San Jose. Let me tell you, when he came out, people were like, oh, come on. They thought it was just a setup fight, but he's got a big punch, man. He's a big star in San Jose. We're going to bring him back over there and have him fight. But he told me he couldn't fight anymore because he had to take time off. And I said, well, we should talk about that. We should make something happen for you. But what a character, man. He loved it. He was out in the crowd, and he was having a good time. So big star. And Valerie, I think Valerie's scheduled to fight in Miami. That's what we're looking for.
But no opponents yet?
No, the opponent has not been identified, but that is our goal.
Scott, I got one. Kind of taking off on what Jose said. And this is not to get you to bash the UFC at all, but when fighters come out and they're displeased, Dana has his approach and your approach is very different, right? So you have Primus and Henderson that are a little bit upset about how things felt. Is it more your personality, or is it more like a company mission statement that you're like, okay, I'm a fighter's promoter, I want to hear these guys out, I'm not going to bash them, I'm not going to get into a back and forth on social media? How do you approach it differently than maybe some other promoters might?
I can just tell you this. I don't want to comment on any other promotion and this stuff, because that's not been my style, And I love martial arts, man. And one thing I learned in Japan working for K1, for Mr. Ishii, was that the fighters are the samurai. They're the warriors. They're the ones, the Bushido's spirit comes from them, and they're the ones stepping in the cage, right? And at the end of the day, if you don't love them for that, and you don't have respect for them for that, and then that's how you run your stuff. And I'm not saying that about anybody. I'm just saying for me, it's like, I really respect these guys, and to me, it's business is about people, right? And I've had a really good relationship with most of my fighters, and especially my top fighters. Sometimes we have, a lot of athletes, but I try to stay in touch and communicate. And if they need something, we're talking, or the managers. But to me, this is a people business, and this is something I really love. And for me, it's been a lifelong martial arts journey, right? And I feel very fortunate for it to continue. And we always try to find common ground with our guys, and it doesn't always work, right? And sometimes the stakes are high, and it doesn't always work. But we'll do our best to make it work. But at the end of the day, something I learned from Mr. Ishii K1 was, hey, these are the guys stepping in the cage. These are the warriors. We have to respect them as, the samurai. So I said, okay, I got it. And I really try to implement that into my philosophy and of operating a fight company and having a business with a relationship with the fighters and managers, and it's integrated into I think our company philosophy, to be honest, and not just with the fighters, but with the staff and with everybody. It's a good thing, I think.
And Kai Kamaka III is once again under the Bellator banner.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you to be working with him again? And what was the conversation like in re-signing him?
Yeah, we talked to his manager, and he wanted to come back, and we said, hey, let's give him a shot. To me, I think he still has some fights left in him. I thought he was talented when he fought for us, and anybody could run into problems anywhere, and you have a little skid here, a little skid there, but let's see what he has left. We're going to give him an opportunity, and it's going to be up to him. He's going to definitely be thrown into some deep water right away, and if he performs, great. If he doesn't, then it's that's going to be something we'll decide, or we'll make some decisions at that time. But we're going to give him an opportunity for sure.
And he's looking to return in December. Has there been any talks? Has there been any contracts sent to him in terms of finding another opponent?
Not that I know of. That's something you could ask Rich or Mike or Jane.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you.